I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back on this Monday to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Tyler. Let's get right into it. International Chest Day, of course, is back in full effect. We're proud to bring our very first update to you courtesy of Keone Peterson, who looks like he's about to step into fully blown territory here pretty soon. According to Keone, 2023 is going to be the year we see him make the jump from top 5 contender to full-blown Olympia champion, which is one hell of a position to take given how deep the top of this division is right now. But if there is anyone in that top group who can make the leap to challenge Sean, it's him. Keone has the tools to be one of the all-time greats in this division. So if there was ever a time for him to make his move, this is it. Because sometimes these title windows open and shut before anyone even knows what happened. Alright, since we're already talking about 212 windows opening and closing, this is a good segue for us to jump into the new update from
You do this every day?
Ashkenani.
Yeah.
Because it looks
Why?
like this guy is trying to rewind the
love it.
clock and insert himself firmly back into the championship race in this division. His win at the Saudi Pro back at the start of this year almost feels like a blip on the radar now because it almost has the feel of a standalone event that doesn't fit into the window of the normal contest season. But the fact remains that he does have a win under his belt already in 2023. And he was probably a little bit better there than he was at the Olympia a few weeks prior. He also has plenty of time to build on that foundation before he starts his prep in a few months. Once upon a time, Ahmad was the guy in this division, and if a few things break in his favor, there's a world where he could potentially challenge for that top 3 spot again. Boy, I'll tell you what, if you had any plans to be in the building for the California Pro this year, you might want to make sure you get those tickets while you still can, because this lineup is shaping to be something very special. Between last year's champ Charles Griffin, Tony O'Burton, and former Cal Pro champ Patrick Moore now deciding to throw his hat back in the ring, the odds of making it into the first call out there are starting to get awfully thin. Granted, Patrick wasn't his best at the Arnold back in March, but that was also his first time back on stage in nearly 2 years after rupturing his Achilles. No big deal. So now that he's knocked the rust off and had a few months to fine-tune the machine, this feels like a huge opportunity for him to add a statement win to his resume. And given the projected depth of that lineup, if he walks away with a win there, I think that opens the door for him to be in the conversation for a top 10 spot as we get closer to November. And last but certainly not least, we're wrapping things up today with a little bit of more International Chest Day motivation from your reigning and defending 4-time Classic Physique Olympia champ, Chris Bumstead. He appears to be firing on all cylinders as well right now. Chris made headlines recently when he said on the Full Send podcast he saw himself possibly winning another 1 to 2 Olympia titles before we would sit down and reassess whether or not it was time for him to hang it up and maybe start to focus on building other areas of his life outside of bodybuilding up. It probably goes without saying that if that were to happen, it would open up a gigantic hole at the top of the division. I believe he's 28 right now, younger than me, which would potentially put him at 30 with another 2 titles under his belt before his hypothetical retirement. So whether or not he'll still feel the same way at the end of next year if he continues to win is something that I guess we'll just have to take a wait and see approach on. But if it is actually a realistic possibility, we better make sure he gets his flowers sooner rather than later, because his days as the king of classic physique might be starting to wind down. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Tyler, gonna see you back here probably tomorrow. Take it easy.